In this video, we're going to go over the little workaround that we use for the school computers and blocks. So this is going to use copy and paste as well as the scale tool. So right off the bat, it's very helpful when using this method of inserting blocks to have some paper and a pen or pencil around just to write down what your scale factor is going to be, just because typically they are numbers that are not very easy to remember, and we have to scale multiple pieces at different sizes. So just kind of having some pen and paper nearby is particularly helpful, as well as just having a calculator. So if you want to use like your phone as your calculator, or there is a calculator directly available on your computer. So if you search right in that search bar and just search for calculator, it'll pop up and you can use just the calculator directly on the computer, which is what I'm going to use for doing these scales. So I'll just have it open over here for now. And I have here in AutoCAD just kind of a little 12 by 24 room laid out, nothing all too fancy, just so we can see kind of how I'm going to insert in some blocks related to like a door or a window, as well as a couple of pieces of furniture, just to practice using that scale tool. So off the bat, I'm going to go into Google, and I'm just going to search for CAD blocks, like I did in the last video. And I'll just go from, let's use a website that we didn't use last time. Did we use this one last time? We might have. Definitely looked at it, but sure, we'll go from here. So I'm going to then search here for doors to see what pops up. And so it gives me a couple of doors. Once again, when you're dealing with doing blocks, you want to think about, are you doing something from a front view or are you doing it from a top view? So in this case, since I'm doing a door from a top view or from a plan, I want to use this one. And I'm just going to download it as a DWG. So I'll just click on that and it'll download, and I'll click to open it. And then to get it into my drawing, I'm going to highlight the whole thing and Control C to copy it. Go into my original drawing, Control V to paste, and then click to just place it somewhere. So now it's really large compared to my house. This door is ginormous. And so now I'm going to scale it based on a specific scale factor related to a measurement that I know. So in this instance, I know that most doors are typically 3 feet wide or 36 inches wide. So I know that that's the dimension I want, and I need to divide that dimension by what I currently have. So I'm just going to go into the line tool and just draw a quick line. So I went from that snap point to this one, and I'm just going to write down that it currently is 101.25, and I want 36. So let me open up the notepad real quick just so to kind of show you that. So for your scale factor, you take the dimension you want and you divide it by the dimension that you have. So I want 36, and I'm going to divide that by 101.25. And that then will give me what my scale factor is to scale this door. So I'm going to go into the calculator, and I'm going to say 36 divided by 101.25, enter, and that gives me a scale factor of 0.3 with a repeating 5 on it. So I'll just write that down for me on my little post-it note in front of me, just so I can remember that for when I go into the scale tool. And back in AutoCAD, I'll just click escape to end that line command. So now I'm going to highlight my entire door, and I'm going to start the scale command by either clicking the button here or using the keyboard shortcut S, C, enter, and it wants me to specify a base point. which I'll just click on really any part of the door. I'll click here for my base point, and now it's asking me to specify a scale factor. So this is where I'll type in my 0.3555555. I'll just put a bunch of 5s. Enter. And now my door has gotten smaller, and if I go to draw a line again, and I go from edge to edge, we can see that it's now 36 inches wide, which is what I want it to be. And then I can take the whole thing again and move it into place in my drawing. So I can move it, I could go based on snap points, and I can then have it in my drawing, use my trim tool to cut a nice little opening there for my door, and I'm ready to go when it comes to that door. Same thing if I was doing a window for a house, is I would go to a website for CAD blocks, and I'd find a window, and we've got lots of windows here. I want to see if I can find one that has like multiple ones in the same file, but maybe not on this particular website. Yeah, so I'll just go back to page 1 then. I'll just download this window, and I'll say that I want to download it as a DWG. Sometimes it might download as a zip folder. This is also it, so right now it blocked it because I've tried to download multiple things from this website, so I'm just going to say always allow, done, download. Cannot connect. That's a little, let's just reload it. Reload the page. There we go. I'll download my window. I'll highlight the whole thing. Control C to copy. Go to my original document. Control V to paste. Place it down. And then again, I'm going to just reference a measurement that I know over the measurement that I have. So for instance, maybe I know that I want it to be 2 feet wide, or in this case, for me, is I want this to be like 7 1/4. So I'm just going to use the line tool to measure what this currently is. So I'm going to write down that currently I have 120, and I want it to be 7 1/4. So, excuse me. So in this case, I have 120, and I want 7.25. So I'm going to go into the calculator app, and excuse me again. I'm going to go into my calculator app, clear it, and do 7.25 divided by 120 equals, and I get my scale factor of, I don't know what I'm allergic to, excuse me, 0.06041 with some repeating 6s. Well, excuse me there, I just had a sneezing attack, but I paused and I think it's good now. So I just wrote down my scale factor here, so that way I can use it for when I use the scale tool. Go back into AutoCAD, highlight my entire window, go into the scale tool, pick a base point as just a point to grab it by, and now it's asking me to specify my scale factor, so I'm going to type in 0.0604, and I'll just add a bunch of 6s. I don't know why I put some 5s in there. Enter. And now my window has been scaled so that the thickness of the frame is 7 1/4. Because it was that repeating 0, I'm not exactly on the money, but I'm very close to what I need it to be. And so then I can take this window and I can use the move tool or even the copy tool to then grab it by a point and kind of copy it into place. So maybe I have multiple ones that I want to put along this wall, which let me Control Z because I didn't put that one in the right spot. And I can kind of put my windows along the walls wherever I kind of want them to be. So one more time, let's just look at that scale and how it works. This time we'll do it with a piece of furniture. So I'll go into a different website. This time I'll use that one that I really like, cadblocks.net. And I'll just go into furniture files. Beds, so we have beds from the front, the side. Since this is a plan, I'm going to do a bed from the top. And I'm just going to download blocks. And this time it downloads as a zipped folder, so I'll just click on that to open it. Double click to open it, and I get this alert saying that it's temporary. So I'll just say, sure, open it as a read-only file. Pick which bed I want. So I can pick really whatever bed that I want. I don't even know if a bed, well, yeah, a bed will fit in this building. It's not that small of a building. I'll just pick kind of this simple one. So I'll just click on it, Control C to copy, go into my drawing, Control V to paste, click to place it, and we can see that this bed's ginormous. And so now it's going to say, well, I need to find a measurement that I want and divide it by a measurement that I have. So I'm going to say that this is a full-size bed. And so I'll need to go on the internet and find out what is the width of a full-size bed. So this isn't something that I know, but it's something that I can find out. And I can see that full-size beds are 53 inches wide. So that's the number I want. And I'll draw a line across here. And I see that it's currently 1,400 inches wide. So again, I'll go into my calculator, clear my calculator off, and I'll say I want 53. And I'll divide that by 1,400. And that gives me my scale factor, and so I'll just write this down on my Post-it. This is why I said it's helpful to have a Post-it of 0.03785,714. That's about as far as I'll write, because I don't need this entire decimal point. This decimal point probably goes even further than that. And I'll go back into AutoCAD. Click on my bed, go into the scale tool, which, SC, enter, base point, which doesn't really matter where I'll grab it by. This time I'll even just go way over here. And then I'll scale it with a factor of 0.03785,714, enter. And now my bed is 53 inches wide. So now I have a full-size bed. So that is the little, and I can also just click on that grip to move it into there. I can put a little bed in the corner, and I can add in other pieces of furniture. So that is the little workaround for inserting blocks, since we won't have the insert tool available on your student laptops. But you still can go download blocks, open them up in AutoCAD, and then copy and paste them in. For some blocks, you might not necessarily know the exact scale factor, so we'll see that in the project for the park and playground you're going to be creating. So for some things like trees, there isn't necessarily a direct size that a tree has to be. So for those, you're just going to scale them based on what size you want them to appear in your park. But then there might be some things like benches or lights, or if you want to place cars in there as well, some specific pieces of playground equipment. There might be a specific scale or a specific size that you need to put it down at, And that's where coming up with a scale factor is very helpful. And remember that your scale factor is just a ratio of the size that you want divided by the size that you currently have. And that's all for this video. So in your big project for this module, there is a little demo that just kind of goes over adding some trees and some pieces into it. So you'll be able to see kind of how that functions. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video.